Okay, here we go. Okay, so in this class so far we have been speaking about body language, right? And you remember we have spoken, we heard about gestures. What are gestures? What are gestures?
Use something.
How we use our hands. Okay, and today this lecture is going to focus exclusively on gestures. But before we get to gestures, let me just say a few words. As you know, nonverbal communication is communication without words. And you know that we communicate nonverbally when we gesture, when we smile, or frown, right? This is a frown. When you widen your eyes, when you make your eyes wide, when you widen your eyes, when you move your chair closer to somebody, when you wear jewelry. Jewelry is a form of nonverbal communication. What we wear communicates things about us. For example, if I wear a wedding ring, I'm married, it communicates information. When you touch somebody, or when you raise your voice, all of these communicate nonverbally, even when you say nothing. Okay? Being silent is a form of nonverbal communication. Being silent could mean you agree, it could mean you disagree, it could mean you're angry, it could mean you're content. There are many ways to interpret silence. Your ability to use nonverbal communication effectively can yield two major benefits. First, the greater your ability to send and receive nonverbal signals, the higher your attraction, popularity, and psychosocial well-being are likely to be. Let me repeat that. Your ability to use nonverbal communication effectively, if you're good at it, can yield two major benefits. And by the way, if you listened to the smiling video about smiling, the talk about smiling, you are familiar with this already. There are many benefits to smiling. But if you can send and receive nonverbal signals correctly, you're going to be more attractive, more popular, and your psychosocial well-being, your relationships are likely to be better. Second, the greater your nonverbal skills, the more successful you are likely to be in a wide variety of interpersonal communication situations, including business communication, teacher-student communication, intercultural communication, courtroom communication, how you communicate in the courtroom, and of course in close relationships, politics, healthcare. Okay, these are all ways that if our nonverbal communication is good, we're going to improve in these ways. And again, this should sound familiar if you have listened to some of those, some of the audios I placed on the blog. Okay, all the ways that all the fields and all the ways that nonverbal communication helps us in our work and our relationships. Okay, but today we're going to focus on gestures. And I bet you didn't know this. But there is a field of communication. There is something called the study of communication through body movement. The study of communication through body movement, that field is called kinesics. Maybe this word looks familiar to you, kinesiology or kinesthetic, like kinesthetic energy is energy in movement, okay? Kinesthetic, in movement. So the study of body language is called kinesics, okay? Our communication through body movement. And in the study of kinesics, there are 5 types of gestures, and that's what I'm going to cover here today, okay?
What is it called?
Here it is. You're squinting. Do you need glasses?
No.
Okay. Kinesics is the study of body communication. Who knew? Who knew that there was a formal name for it? Who knew that there was a formal name for it? How we communicate with our body language. Okay, so there are 5 types of gestures. I'm going to say them quickly, but don't worry because I'm going to come back to them. The first type are emblems, E-M-B-L-E-M-S. The second type is, I'm going to come to it again so you'll see it. The second type is illustrators, to illustrate, I-L-L-U-S-T-R-A-T-O-R-S. The third type is affect displays, affect, A-F-F-E-C-T. Again, I'm going to come back, so don't worry. The fourth type is regulators. And the last type, adapters. And that's the content of this talk today. So, the first type of gesture is an emblem. Again, E-M-B-L-E-M. What is an emblem? Emblems are substitutes for words. They're body movements that have specific translations, such as this sign. What does this sign mean here?
Okay.
This sign means okay. It's a substitute for that word, okay. You want to come? Did I do a good job? The sign for come here, or if I'm in Korea, okay, this one. Go away. Okay, if I do this, I'm speaking to you. Okay, get out of here. Go away. What does this mean?
I don't know.
Who, me? Me? Okay, if I do this, you know what it means, right? It has a specific, it relates to specific words. This one?
Silence.
Okay, this means be quiet. That's what it means. Yeah, not shut up. Who said shut up? It doesn't mean shut up. This is polite. Okay? Shut up is shut up. Okay, this is, if there's no nonverbal. This means please be quiet or shh, quiet.
Eating.
I told you.
I told you. Or,
Eating.
You're eating.
no, this is not threatening. This is not a threatening gesture in America. I guess it depends. Maybe I need more body language to go with it. But this could just be shame on you. Shame on you. You're late. You should have known better. Okay, and as everybody knows how to say that in Arabic, correct? How do we say it in Arabic? Afalik. Okay. So that's this one. Sleepy, I'm tired. That's what it means. Or what does that mean?
Freezing.
I'm freezing. You guys know that one from this room. Okay. Emblems are as arbitrary. Arbitrary means they're just as arbitrary as any words in any language. Okay? You know, I want to say, well, not exactly. If I do this, it means to keep your mouth quiet. So that's really not arbitrary. There's a reason for it. Okay? But, you know, why is this okay? Why is this okay? That's because we decide it's arbitrary. There's no real reason. Okay? I could have just done this, and that can be okay. But we agree on it that this is okay, not this. Okay, the gesture is arbitrary, meaning there's no real reason for it. Just the same way that sometimes language, most of the time language is arbitrary. Why is this called a pen? Why is it called a marker? No, because we agreed. It's language often, not every language and not all the time. Language is often arbitrary. We just pick a sound and that relates to this item, the pen. But the word pen and the thing pen, they don't go together. It's just arbitrary. Okay? Okay. And because these emblems are often arbitrary, so your culture's emblems are not necessarily the same as your culture's emblems from way back. Okay, from history. 300 years ago, when people communicated non-verbally, they might not have said this here. I don't know when this started in America, but it might not have existed 100 years ago, or 200 years ago, or 300 years ago. So even in my own culture, these can change. And, of course, the emblems of my culture can be different than the emblems of your culture. And, for example, this sign, what does this mean to other people? This here in America, it means okay. What else can this mean in other places?
Perfect.
Okay, perfect, but that's kind of like okay.
Delicious.
This means delicious?
Yeah.
Delicious? But that's like perfect, no? This was great, but that's different. That's like, Okay, does this mean anything else in anybody else's culture?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
This means I'm fine. Huh?
What
What does that mean?
Like gay.
That means gay? That's a
Yeah.
sexual, homosexual connotation in Venezuela? Okay, that's sound like this. Yeah, and you do this here, like this, like this. You do that here, and I don't know why you're doing that. It doesn't have the same meaning here. Okay, that doesn't mean, there's no sexual connotation to that. And what about, in Japan, this means money. Is that right? Okay, how do you do it? Money. This means money in Japan. Okay, it does not mean money here.
Here it means money is like this.
No.
How would I say money here? Okay, let me think about it. And it also can mean, this can mean nothing, zero. Like I'm showing you my hand, like I'm making a zero. Okay, zero. And it can also mean, like you said, something sexual in other places. Okay, it could either mean homosexual, maybe something else, especially in Southern Europe. Okay, so in Italy, Spain, all right. But just as English language is spreading throughout the world, so too is English nonverbal language. The American use of this emblem to mean okay is spreading just as fast, for example, English and scientific and technical terms that you use. Okay, so emblems can spread, but they're not, emblems spread, but here's my main point here is that emblems can vary from culture to culture, and even within your culture, they can vary across time. Okay, does everybody understand those two major points?
Yeah.
Okay. So the second type of gesture is called an illustrator. What are illustrators? Illustrators accompany and literally illustrate verbal messages. Illustrators make your communications more vivid and help to maintain your listener's attention. They also help to clarify, make clear, and intensify your verbal message. Okay, for example, if I'm going to say, let's go. Guys, let's go. I do this. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Okay, this enhances my message. My message is verbal, let's go, and this is trying to move you out of the room. Okay, guys, come on, let's go. You see this? This is called an illustrator. I'm only using it, if I just do it by itself, you might say, what is she doing? But with the verbal message, let's go, it makes sense. It helps intensify or increase my verbal message. So that's what illustrators do. If I wanted to describe what a square or a circle for you, I might, like this, right? Or I'm showing you a picture, illustration. I'm illustrating what I'm trying to explain. So if I just do this to you, you don't know why I'm doing it. But if I say, oh, go over to that place, you'll see a circle, okay, in the middle of the wall. So I'm doing this to illustrate my verbal message. Okay, and if research shows, this is interesting, that if you use illustrators, and think about teachers, this increases the student's ability to remember. So if I want to teach you the word circle, which makes sense, I should show you a circle. Okay? That's why I like my vocabulary slides, because they serve as illustrators for the words, not just the word themselves, but some kind of picture or illustration of the word. Okay, we are aware of illustrators only part of the time. At times, they may have to be brought to our attention and our awareness. Now, illustrators are much more universal than emblems. They will be recognized and understood by more people, by more cultures than emblems. Okay, so if I say to you guys, and you don't understand English, blah, 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 blah. Okay, this helps you more. Okay, whereas this might not be as universal. Okay, if I'm trying to explain something to you, I'm giving you directions. Blah, 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 blah. You're getting it. Go to your right over there. Okay, illustrators are easier to recognize. They will be recognized and understood by more members of more cultures. Next, the third kind of gesture that I'm going to talk about today, affect displays. A-F-F-E-C-T, affect displays. Okay, what are these? These are movements of the facial area that convey emotional meaning. My areas of my face that convey emotional meaning, expressions that show anger and fear, happiness and surprise, eagerness, I want to do it, and fatigue. They are the facial expressions that show your true feelings when you're trying to present a false image that lead people to say, hey, you look angry, what's wrong? You're trying to hide it, but you can't hide it. We can, however, consciously we can consciously control this. We can consciously control our affect displays, just like actors do when they are playing a role. We can do that. Affect displays may be unintentional, as when they show your true feelings, like in the holes, Zero was proud of himself. When he knew the alphabet, he was proud of himself. His face gave him away. He didn't want to say, yes, of course I knew that, and show it. He actually was trying to hide it, but Stanley knew that he was proud because his face revealed him. He couldn't control this affect display. His smile came out anyhow. It can also be intentional. For example, when you want to show anger or love. Okay, now, for example, I'll give you an example of that. If you have a child, you have a 2-year-old child, and you don't want them to, you don't want them to touch the stove. Okay? You don't want them to touch the stove. You want to teach them to stay away from the stove. It's not on. It's not on. But anyhow, the child does something cute. Maybe they move a stool and they get on and they want to touch the stove, and actually you think it's kind of cute, and maybe you even think it's smart. Look how he managed to get up there. But, and it's dangerous. You're not really angry. It's not on. It's not on, so there's not real danger. But you want to teach that child a lesson. So you pretend to get angry. You must never go to that stove again. And you can pretend to be angry. That's all it means. I can control my emotions. I can fake it. I can pretend. Okay, and we have to do that in some situations. So our affect displays, we can control them like actors, or like parents, or like when you're pretending to act a certain emotion. Okay, you can pretend to express love. It might not be real. You can pretend. You can act. If you're a good actor, you can pretend that. And then sometimes we can't hide it. Even when we're trying to, we can't. The true emotions are revealed. Okay, how many have we done so far? Okay, number 4, regulators. What are regulators? Regulators monitor, maintain, or control the speaking of another individual. Again, regulators monitor, maintain, or control the speaking of another individual. This is interesting. When you, and this should sound familiar to you from Sex, Lies, and Conversation. When you listen to somebody else, you're not passive. Okay? What do? What might you do if you're listening to someone else to show that you're paying attention?
No.
You might nod your head. You might do something with your lips like this. You might, it doesn't matter, but you might do something with your lips. You might adjust your eye focus. I might look more at you. And you might make various sounds. What are our listening sounds? Okay, or here, you telling me, if you want to tell me that somebody did something bad, I'll go, that might be a sound here of, I can't put, oh my God. Okay, that's a, I guess, I don't know if that's an American paralinguistic sound or everybody does that. Okay. Regulators, the way we regulate conversation, the way we respond to others when they're speaking, relates to culture. Totally relates to culture, and each culture develops its own rules for the regulation of conversation. Okay, regulators also include broad movements such as shaking your head, no, leaning forward to show that you want to hear more. What did you say? Okay, leaning forward, I can be doing this to express interest. Okay. Regulators communicate what you expect or want speakers to do as they're talking. For example, if you want someone to keep going, what do? Well, if you're talking to me and I go like this, what does that mean?
Hurry up.
Hurry up. Okay, come on, get to the point. If you're talking to me or I'm in a rush, and I'm trying to control your conversation. I'm trying to regulate, to rule, to regulate your conversation. So doing this, if I do it really slowly, I am giving you a cue to continue your conversation. Okay, and if I'm like this, my cue is, I don't believe you, or forget about it. No way.
Defensive states.
Hmm?
They call it defensive states or something like that.
Different what?
Defensive.
Defensive. Okay, this would be, well, okay, this could be a defensive gesture with my face if I'm trying to protect myself. Okay, from what you're saying. But different cultures can interpret this posture, the way I'm standing, the way I'm holding my hands differently. Okay, so regulators, again, communicate what you expect or want speakers to do as they're talking. For example, keep going. Okay, tell me what happened. I don't believe that. Are you sure? Okay. Speed up. Slow down. Slow down. Okay. Speakers often receive these nonverbal behaviors without being consciously aware of them. When I'm participating in that conversation with you, I don't even really notice that you're doing that. Okay, I'm not consciously aware. But depending on your degree of sensitivity, how sensitive you are to what's going on around you, how sensitive you are to the speaker, you might modify, you might change your behavior in relation to their cue. So if I'm talking to Zara, and I say, she's like, okay, I'm getting to the point. Okay, I'm controlling the way she's speaking to me. If she's sensitive to it. If she's not really paying attention, she's going to continue just as she wants to. Okay, everybody understand that one? Okay, finally, the last one. Our last one here. Adapters. Okay, so what are adapters? Adapters satisfy some need and usually occur unconsciously. We're not usually aware that we're doing these things. They're unintentional movements, and they usually go unnoticed. We don't usually notice when other people are doing them. 3 types of adapters based on their focus. Number 1, it's called a direction adapter or a target adapter. Number 2, self-adapters. Oh, sorry, wait, stop. 3 types of adapters based on their focus, their direction, or their target. Number 1, self-adapters. Self-adapters, that's number 1. Number 2, alter, A-L-T-E-R. Alter adapters, what does alter mean? Change. Okay, so adaptations of change. And 3, object adapters. Okay, for the first one, self-adapters. Self-adapters usually satisfy a physical need. Okay, they generally serve to make us more comfortable. Maybe if I have an itch, I'll scratch it. Okay, if I have an itch, I scratch, right? This. Okay, you have an itch, you scratch it. If your lips are dry, you might lick your lips. Try to make your lips moist. Okay, give moisture to your lips. Or if your hair is in your eyes, do I have any ladies here with their hair? No, everybody has nice hair away from their face, okay? But if you have to keep moving, if some people have hair in their eyes, they keep moving it away from their eyes. Okay. When these adapters, listen to this, when we do this in private, when we do this privately, not in public, we do it completely. So for example, if I have an itch, Okay, my arm itches. I can scratch for as long as I want in private. Okay? Oh, I can really get that itch out. I can do it like this. Oh gosh, right? But in public, I can't do that. Okay, in public, it's going to be a little inappropriate if I scratch until I really feel comfortable. You can do a little scratch, and nobody will notice that. But if you are scratching for 15 minutes, we're going to all pay attention to it. And that's not okay in public. Okay? In public, we have to abbreviate. We have to make these motions shorter. Okay? I mean, if you wanted to, again, if you wanted to lick your lips, if you did it one time, that would be okay. If you were doing it constantly in class, it would be strange, or in public. Okay? People would say, "What? That's not normal." Okay. All right. The second kind, alter adapters. These are body movements we make in response to current interactions. Okay, this is ways I move my body or I use my arms in relation to what somebody else does. Okay, so if somebody comes close and I don't, here, stand up please. Okay, I don't like him. Okay, come close. You want to talk to me? Come closer to me. Okay? If I don't like him too much, right? If I don't like him too much or he's making me feel uncomfortable, I'm going to back away. I'm going to move away. Okay? So I'm going to change my position because of thank you. Because of I'm responding to a current interaction. Okay? You're making me feel uncomfortable. I might cover my arms like this. Okay, and if I like you, you're coming close to me, and I do like you, I might move closer to you. Okay, and that shows that I like you. So that's an alter adapter. Finally, the last one, object adapters. Okay, object adapters are movements that involve your manipulation of some object. Okay. Frequently observed examples include punching holes in or drawing on a piece of paper. Okay, I don't know if that's a good example. This is when I adapt an object. I start touching, I interact with an object. I might start clicking a pen, right? I have a pen in my hand and I'm playing with it, right? I might start tapping it. I'm using it, I'm making a gesture involving an object. That's basically what you need to know. Psychologists say that when we do things with objects, these are usually signs of a negative feeling. This indicates some kind of negative feeling. For example, you might do this more when you are hostile, when you are angry, than when you feel friendly. So pay attention to this. Pay attention to this, guys, when you are interacting with people. If they're interacting with stuff, and I wonder now with phones, because everybody is object adapting constantly with their phones. Constantly touching objects all the time. But psychologists say that this could be a sign of hostility. If friendly interactions have much less object movement. Okay, and as anxiety and uneasiness, I don't feel easy with you, increase, so does the frequency of my use of these object adapters. So that's interesting. The more relaxed you are, the less you're touching objects, moving them in ways, right? I don't know, maybe I would play with my glasses. Okay, this would be some kind of object adapter, how I'm using my hands with an object and what it expresses. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I think that is the end, that is the conclusion of this lecture, which is our first lecture, my first lecture for you on body language, on gestures. What I'm going to allow you to do now is to talk with your partner. You can try to repeat back what I said. You can try to fill in your notes, and then I will collect your notes and give you some questions based on your notes on Monday. Okay, so with a partner who doesn't speak your language, try to reproduce what you heard. Is everybody here?
Okay.
Somebody's up here. How about Nathalie and Ryan? No.
Yeah.